According to BBC News in 2018, the USA was the second largest Spanish-speaking country, only after Spain, with about 20% of its citizens speaking Spanish. It is important to understand that being bilingual and speaking other languages is something that is very common. Not everyone will speak English or your native language, depending on where you are at. It is also important that we are teaching our children this, that some people that they meet might not speak the language that they are speaking, that they might speak Spanish instead of English. This is something that has been made aware in like retail or grocery store settings. I have seen personally firsthand from working in a grocery store and just from going shopping that when a person speaks Spanish as well as English, that on their name tag, they will also state that they speak Spanish so that Spanish speakers know that they're able to go up to them and ask them questions. It is important, I believe that it is important that we need to be teaching our children Spanish, and not just in high school or middle school, but in elementary school, when they are in first grade, second grade, when they're still developing, so that they are able to attain the language. We are one of the few countries that does not teach a second language in the elementary school age. Most countries teach their native language, whatever that may be, in English, because English is such a prominent language, especially in the business settings. Being bilingual also helps careers. It is something that is what employers look at when they look at resumes, whether you are bilingual or what other languages you speak. Teaching Spanish also should be done at earlier ages, such as in elementary schools, because at that point you are still developing and the brain is still able to attain language better than when it does in high school. While you can still learn it in high school and as an adult, you just might not, it might take longer than it does if you are younger. While most Americans believe for us to be the greatest country, that is not always true, especially when it comes to education. Our education system is not the best necessarily, especially with our language skills. Many countries teach English, as I've said, as another language. My junior year of high school, I went to Iceland for a trip, and we went to multiple high schools and elementary schools, and we talked with students there, and we learned that they are taught Icelandic, their native language, English, as well as a third language, all within elementary age, so that they are able to speak their native language, because that's what most of their parents and grandparents speak. They're able to speak English, so they're able to communicate with people who come to the country, as well as people who they might be getting a job with, things like that. And then most of them learn a third language just because that is how their education system is brought up. So they either learn French, Italian, something like that, because they're so close to Europe. It also helps people connect with other people. If a little girl is like 6 years old and she just speaks English, she might have a friend who speaks English and Spanish, but when she goes to her friend's house, her parents might only speak Spanish. Things like that can create a barrier between friends and creating connections. So if we are teaching Spanish at these younger ages, people are able to make connections even younger, because it's always important to be making friends, meeting new people, things like that. And these are barriers that we are able to overcome. There are multiple benefits for you learning a language, especially in elementary school. These benefits are able to help you in today's society. If you are able to put bilingual on your resume, it looks great for employers. They will look at that. You will most likely be hired over someone who has the exact same resume as you, except that they are not bilingual. This is because they are able to work with other people. They're able to get more customers into their business, even if it's just a retail job. If it is just a retail job, that still means you're able to reach out to more consumers rather than if you just speak English. But if you're working in the corporate world, in the suit and tie world, you're able to work in the international business section. So you're able to go to other countries to connect with them, to sell your products or services, whatever you are trying to sell. A questionnaire that was done in Brazil by Patricia Frederick shows that most Brazilians see and know that if they speak English as well as Portuguese, they're able to get a higher pay because they are able to speak two languages and they're able to connect with more people. Being bilingual in the business world also means you can be a better representative for your company. This means that when you go to a different country or state or to a different business, because you're trying to work with a different business to sell your product or service, you're able to be a better representative, and you're able to show that you are worthy of the person's respect, especially if you're going to a different country and you're able to speak their language and you don't need a translator. Showing this means that you have a higher respect for them, that you learned their language. So companies that have people who are bilingual treasure those people more, and they're most likely paid more in most scenarios. You learn all of this when you take business classes, that people who are able to speak two languages usually get paid more and have higher chances of getting hired because they are able to show off more skills. While it is great that you can learn different languages as you're older and getting into your careers, if you're able to learn the language when you're younger in the correct developmental age, language will stay with you longer, especially if you continue to practice it. Developmentally, there's an area in your brain called the Wernicke area. That part of your brain is your language and writing skills. That starts to develop prominently when you're about 18 months old. So that's when you're learning most likely the language that your family speaks. But if you are able, then that part of your brain is obviously still developing, and it still develops until you are way into your teenage years. But the younger that you start learning languages, the fresher that part of your brain is, so it's able to adapt and take in more knowledge and take in more skills than rather than later in life when that part of your brain is mostly developed. There's also a theory called the learnability theory. It is believed that when you are younger and you are about the ages between 5 and 10, that your brain is able to attain different language skills, and you're able to learn rhetoric and things like that. And that's when you learn most of your writing and how to write, how to speak, things like that. And that's the age when you learn it most. So if we are teaching not just English, but as well as Spanish or a different language, depending on where you live, then you're able to attain that knowledge and you're able to use that. All of these reasons are why we should be teaching our children not just English. We should be teaching them Spanish. With such a high percentage of people speaking Spanish and being being right next to Mexico, where they also speak Spanish, then it shows that we should be teaching bilingual education. Bilingual education gives more opportunities to these children with careers and with connecting with people, and it will help us develop as a country our better education system. So as an audience, we all need to work together so we're able to go out into our local communities and show that we need to start supporting a bilingual education and talk to our government officials so that we're able to encourage people to teach this, as well as trying to teach our kids when we have kids that they should learn another language because they're able to be more culturally aware.